Hey everyone, it's Mickey and welcome back to Mickey's Madhouse. So today I wanted to I have an interesting theory about the boy in white. Now, I think a lot of people, know that the boy in white is supposed to represent something good in this cursed land. So but there are certain things that, um, if you think about it, wouldn't make sense. Story plot, yeah, but then you're like, yeah, but you could do something better that wouldn't cause anybody harm, even if they're going to be fine in the end. So, um, one of the things is, now with in the recent episode of season 4, episode 9, we had Victor at his mom and maybe sister, you know, grave at their graves. And I say maybe sister because I also have a theory on that I'm gonna post another video on. But so he was talking about, you know, what to do. That it's like I don't know what to do. I'm like, you know, he's frustrated with everything going on. Then the boy in white comes to him and says, "Do you know what they're doing with the tree?" And he doesn't know. So then he goes back into town and finds out and tries. He's wants to stop them, but he is stopped and he's put into a cell. Now, there are a lot of people that are saying, "Oh no, that's bad," because then his dad Henry's going to come along and kill him. Well, the first incident I'm gonna talk about here next, but think of it this way: Kenny, I believe Kenny has seen Henry's behavior since finding out what the Man in Yellow did to Miranda. Um, I believe that's her name. I'm sorry if I'm, blanking, if I'm not saying that right. But uh, after that, he's been, having. Then of course, I mean, he's been having, problems, and then add on to that what the Man in Yellow, or again, as I said, I don't know if anybody saw my video on that. If you can, if you haven't, if you have comments, like the video, be nice. We we're all outcast in this, in Frumland, or Frumville, however you want to say it. We're all people in this town trying to get out. So yeah, be nice and let's talk about theories and not criticize one another. So Sophia is wearing green, light lime green, and it's another thing, like she's wearing like checkerboard, you know, green and white dress. And, I mean, this is a game to the Man in Yellow, or as what I was saying there, Sophia and Green. Greena, Sophia and Greena. So, and yes, I am with you, yes, Elgin. Understanding this town is under a curse, and so certain people are going to be drawn into that and manipulated into it. But it's one of those things where you're like, come on. Really? You see that and you, hey, on this photo, this girl looks like you. Hey, yeah. And that's something. Um, no. It's like, you feel bad for him, but then it's like, you know, you're like, come on, you don't give in to that. Don't, I mean, you really need to stop yourself and say, okay, what's the best, what's the right thing to do? You know, not to, it's funny. No, it's more of a, this is awkward. And the one thing, again, with Victor, people have wondered about that. Victor, I don't believe Victor has seen Sophia yet. And if he did, then he would know. Another thing is that no, I don't believe what the man in yellow or Sophia in Greena said to Elgin afterwards, that in order for him to turn into somebody, they have to die. No, I don't believe that. I mean, with all the things he says, I'm not buying it. So, back to Victor and the boy in white and what he said, and him getting locked up. Kenny is the one, I think Kenny is at the jail making, that's his post for the time being. And so if Henry did come around and tried something, I don't think Kenny's going to let it. He might let him talk at the door, but he's not going to let him go in the same cell as Victor. So you would say, well, but why would, I mean, there is the theory that every time somebody comes into town, there's a tree in the middle of the road, and yes, that could be from people trying to take down the bottle tree. But, there's also, I don't think they were able to take down the bottle tree. And if it is something to where, even if they can't, that something happens from people trying, and that's how the tree ends up in the middle of the road, that doesn't mean that's how it happens, but, So, I think the boy in white might have done that because of what Victor was there, saying, I don't know what to do. It's like everything is just so, it's like, come on, all this stuff going on, he's like, he doesn't know what to do. So I think the boy in white came to him and helped him, because the boy in white knew what Henry, and I don't think Henry would do it. I really hope Henry is able to be like, really, like, somebody, you can't have everybody, give into this curse of land. You have to have people that really, fight it and is able to say, no, I'm not doing that. No, that's stupid. You have to have people that are able to fight it. So for Henry to then be able to be like, no, I'm not doing that. This is stupid. And looking around him and also noticing things. And people could be like, yeah, but then, could trick him into making him think that, it's because when you're when you're going in and out, like when you are either in a coma or sometimes when you're sick and you're, kind of go in and out of sleeping and, not, that sometimes things like that get mixed together. So, that can be, something that they could try to, but then he could, start to, say, no, I'm not doing that. I don't have to, because he doesn't have to do that. Disconnect. Yeah, no, there's another way. Like, come on, dude, seriously. But it could be also that Henry might not do something, but Henry might, like, go into convulsions to where it looks like he's, when, like Julia said, having a grandma seizure. I'm sorry if I can't say things right, but and he could do something, not willingly. I mean, he's not doing willingly, but you know what I mean, where it's like he's not in control, of his body and of his, motor. That's it, motor skills, that he doesn't have that control. So, but I think the boy in white might have done this because Victor needed help. And that's when I get to the first thing here that might help explain it. That Victor was locked up to protect him from Henry, and that Kenny being his post being, where Victor's locked up, that Victor would be protected because Kenny, I don't care. Kenny's like, no, you're not going in there. You could be at the door and talk to him through the door, but you're not going inside that cell. No way. No, no, no. So, but so that's one to think. That's one thing to think about. And I will get to the bottle tree on this too, because it's interesting what I was talking about in the previous video about it being about intent, when you go through, but there's something more to it. So with the first thing that happened, when Sarah and Boyd in the earlier seasons, when they're needing a way out, and the boy in white, Sarah sees the boy in white and he points to the bottle tree. I think it was the bottle tree. But yeah, Sarah was transported to the basement of the church there, and Boyd was transferred to the well. So the thing with the bottle tree, that's when you think about it, I mean, again, if it's supposed to be this good thing, then why was the one guy who was like, oh, this is how you got out, and he went through the bottle tree, ended up at the pool wall? That doesn't, I mean, him being hostile, I get it, but everybody there is hostile, and everybody there is not in a good frame of mind, and they need out. Being claustrophobic is a pain in the ass. I'm not somebody who, sorry, it's not fun, okay? So everybody there is mad and really needs to get out. So, I think the trick with the bottle tree is whatever is on your mind at that very moment. As soon as you step through it, that's where you're going to end up. So, Tabitha ending up, even though, yes, the boy in white did show her where to find Henry, doesn't necessarily mean that's where she was supposed to end up. So whatever, I think when Boyd stepped through the bottle tree, he was saying, he was thinking, stopping this. I need to stop all this stuff. How do we stop this? Well, then we find out there's Martin there, and he had the worms. And then when Boyd was able to climb out of the well, and Martin put the worms into him, the worms then in return infected Smiley. And then because Fatima is dating, there's so many E's. There's Ethan, Ellis, and Elgin. And it's like, enough with the E names. It's like, come on, we need different letters. So I think it's like, but why put her through that? Why put anybody through that? Why put her through that? Even if she's going to be fine in the end, you know, why do it? Well, not every plan, sadly, even with the boy in white and in the power that he has, because again, he's not showing himself to everybody, and I don't think he can, because what the man in yellow did to this town. And like the monsters in the town, I don't think the monsters are bad, because they were people. They were tricked into believing what the man in yellow was saying. They were tricked into it. So, I mean, they were turned into monsters. And there's a spot in the trailer, and I can't think of the YouTuber's, it's Geek something, but I think he pointed out that in the trailer when Tabitha and Jade are in there, and I think this scene might be when the quote unquote monsters are coming into the room where they found the kids' bones. That maybe they're smiling. They're like, there's a sense of like, oh my goodness, like, wow, they're in awe of something. So maybe it's the bones or the kids. Something's happening with that even though the monsters are able to come into the room, you know, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to come after them. So it's either the bones or the fact that, the fact that they buried the bones of the kids in a stone, a stone coffin, could be like something protecting it. And I know limestone is something that absorbs energy. If there's a haunting, if there's a spirit or something, it will absorb certain things. So if it's a stone that doesn't absorb, that blocks, I have to look that up. But but there could be something to where not even them going around, to get them, it's going to work, because, hey, it's like what they did, what the man in yellow tricked them into doing with the kids. Part of that's, unraveling this mystery and breaking this curse is laid out there. So maybe that's one part of it, and that's, they're gonna be like frozen. Oh my goodness, like they can't move, like they're frozen, like they're like scared stiff. And So they can't. They're going to be like, oh my goodness. And there is a scene in one of the trailers that does show Jade going through a tunnel that looks like it could lead to the Colony House. Again, I know I was the only one that thought crowbars. I mean, you're out the door. Okay, well, few people. Hey, I'm sure somebody has a crowbar. A few crowbars, and they could always get something else and use it as something to pry the wood off the door. But there is a scene in one of the trailers that has Jade going through a tunnel that looks like it can lead through to the Colony House. So that might be how they make it out safely. I don't think they're gonna die. It'd be really stupid for them to end up dying, considering they're the ones that, resisted the Man in Yellow. I get a sacrifice, but to me, that would be really stupid to do. But so I know, like, get to the point. Anyway, so with them doing this to Fatima, with then her rebirthing Smiley, and then her being a tracker, that might be one of the key things, is that now she's a tracker for not only Smiley but all the monsters. That this could be the key to defeating them. That then there might be other things buried in the tunnels, or even in other areas, that because she has that, because Smiley was in her, and it's like with Claire and Sophia in the blood, when certain things like that interact with one another, that will, affect your DNA, and then, so that Smiley being inside Fatima infected her DNA, and so now she's, in a sense, a tracker, and I don't know if the golem will come into play. I would love that maybe the boy in white could then manifest in the golem. That would be really, really cool to see something like that. But, and I've heard people say that maybe Fatima, because golem is something that's, it could be that Fatima's turning into a stone golem, because of, golems being made, and sometimes, so, if that's the case, I could see it being something to where the boy in white had to do this, and even if, I don't know if Boyd saw the boy in white then when Sarah did, but, I think that, because when the exact thoughts that Boyd had when walking into the bottle tree was, I gotta get myself, my son, wasn't his wife yet, so, but fiance, partner, girlfriend, whatever. So that could have been his thought, but also I think boy in white as well is like, no, this is not what he would do, because who would? That even if someone's going to be okay at the end, why put him through that? Why put anybody through that? Nobody, it's wrong. But, boy in white doesn't have, the power he should have to stop all this. So, but that was my thought, because it's something you think about. Like, why would the boy and white do certain things like that? I mean, you know, and also with that, if like with Victor and then now Ethan, but I do believe the boy in white is the man in yellow son. But, and I said this before, I think people that are coming to the town, that the people that made the deal with the man in yellow, that their spirits are split in half. So part of their spirits are stuck in Frumland, and or Frumley, or Frumville, however you want to say it, and another part of their spirit is out there, and they're forced to relive the same events over and over again. So whoever their spirits are born into, then they will make their way back to this cursed land. So it's not only Tabitha and Jade, but I think everybody there. So if you think about it, Boyd, and we do see him wearing yellow a lot. Boyd is the person that runs the town. He's like the mayor of the town. He runs it. He, makes the laws, all that stuff. This is the person. This is the boss. And he has a son, Ellis. So, if you think about it, it's not only, one thing, and of course then when you get to that, not everything or everybody because there might be, like in Harry Potter with the Horcrux. I don't think I'm saying that right, but maybe with the man in yellow and the boy in white, parts of them are split. Parts of their spirits are split. It's not like a even split. It's like fragments of it. And it's, so with that, and again, I really hope, because I hope that there's something, because again, they're monsters, but they're people that were tricked into, buying into what the man in yellow was saying, and so I really hope that they are able to be freed of this curse as well, because it's not only them. It's not, they're not completely to blame for, not saying that. Again, I'm not good at editing, and I can't pay you, but if you're an editor and if you'd like to work for free, that'd be great. If you could also make thumbnails and a banner and stuff for my YouTube and my different YouTubes, my TwitX, my Blue Sky, let me know, email me, contact me, leave a comment, be nice though, again. But it's something that I was thinking about, and it's like, yeah, but why do certain things like that? That's not a good thing. But again, considering the circumstances, I don't think the boy in white has all that control now. Now that they found the bones of the kids, that's going to be a big thing. But and maybe Ethan's the only one that can maybe go through it, because if it is going through the bottle tree, and if it is the exact thought that you have in your head, as soon as you go into it, maybe Tabitha, maybe, certain people go with Ethan, but they need to have the Lake of Tears in their head as soon as they walk into Bottle Tree. And when that happens, they end up at the Lake of Tears. And maybe, because uncovering the kid's bones might be one step, but the Lake of Tears could also be, something that would revive them. Not seeing their spirits, decayed and in this horrible state, but seeing them, brought back to where they were before all this happened. So that might be something, because it's something that really does make you think. Now maybe when the one guy that went through the Bottle Tree and ended up in the pool wall, he could have the exact thought he was thinking, I can't wait to swim in a nice big pool. Well, you're in a nice big pool. Well, you're not in little bits of you in because you're in the wall, and the wall starts to crack. And I'm like, well, you could have gotten him out, by taking, even a knife, getting some silverware and chipping away at the, the concrete there. Could have done it, but, you didn't. So, yeah. But it really makes you think, that, and what Sarah was thinking is that, if somewhere safe, and probably thinking, the church, somewhere safe. So, yeah, that's something that I was, thinking about, and, maybe it's something, I wonder, if there is any truth to that, and if, again, with what the Boy in White did with Fatima, it's not right, but this might be considering everything going on, so, yeah. But, anyway, that is what I think, and, let me know, what you think. Like the video, subscribe, leave a comment, that'd be nice, that's all I ask. Again, money is really tight right now, things in my family are not the best, and, so money is very tight, so if you could help out, you can find the links in my link tree. Donate via Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal. You can find my other YouTube, my Amazon links. I have an Amazon link for things I need. Amazon links for things I want to review, and I'm thinking of I want to upgrade one of my PC's motherboard to a better PC case and a better PCU and all that stuff. So that's down there as well. You can have links to my TwitX, my Blue Sky, and it would be really great if you could help me out. Again, I'm not good at editing, so if you're an editor and you could help out for free, when I start making money, I will definitely pay you. Even if you even if you're like, no, you don't have to pay me, I'm still going to. So, yeah. I'm one of those people that I prefer to spoil people as opposed to not. I'm giving to a fault. So, yeah. I really love to be able to do more and give more. So, you guys could help out, please. Please do so. And, I will talk to you guys later. Now, let me see if I could just work. Hold on. Okay, bye. Also, One thing, I know that there's been a lot of memes. Jeremy Fire and Ice has posted them of the wig that Julie is wearing. If you could find a wig and send that to me, let me know. And then maybe for the final that I could stream it, I mean, you know, react live, and then I could wear the wig. That is a terrifying wig, I'm telling you. Boyd, looking through that viewfinder, I feel you, man. I freak out too seeing that. Anyway, I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Now.